Come back. I hope you are doing well. It's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for stopping by. I just wanted to briefly go into this popular term, genocide. This accusation that has been thrown about, thrown at, and is still being applied to the war Israel is actively engaging in with the terrorists in Gaza, the Hamas terrorists in Gaza. So I just wanted to share something before we carry on. So let's have a look see.
We dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan to end World War II, right? You might quibble with that. You might think that was a war crime. You might think that was a horrific evil. It wasn't a genocide, and no one calls it a genocide. We vaporized 100,000 people instantaneously, and then we killed another 100,000 slowly by radiation poisoning and fire and infection. No one calls that a genocide. No serious person calls that a genocide, and no human rights organization calls that a genocide. Amnesty International does not call that a genocide. But do you know what they call the war in Gaza? A genocide. That's the moral confusion. We know our dropping atomic bombs on Japan wasn't a genocide, because what did we do after Japan surrendered? We went in there and we occupied them and we rebuilt their society. And by 1952, when we left, they had ceased to be our enemies. They were our allies, right? At no point did anyone think that our goal was to eradicate the world of Japanese people, right? So that's what a genocide is, the eradication project. And the fact that people are confused about what this word means is culturally appalling, right? But this confusion has been engineered by people who know what they're doing. People think that somehow dumbing down the definition of genocide to mean simply too much death and destruction and war. We need a moral vocabulary that distinguishes the people who are really trying to eradicate everyone of a certain type, whatever that type is, right? Men, women, and children. People don't know what actual genocides are like if they think what happened in Gaza is a genocide.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yes. The intention when there is genocide is to eradicate, wipe out. That's the intention. That's the sole aim, the goal. When did we see this again? October 7th, 2023. The intention of those people, if Israel was one of the nations of the world that had nothing, there would have been no Israel today. And the same world celebrating, calling for Israel to be wiped out, would have rejoiced and celebrated. Just as that guy said, dumbing down definitions will not magically make those words into what the wicked part of this world is population desire. All sorts of absolutely nonsense and stupid buzzwords have been weaponized to justify all the verbal and physical attacks which we are still witnessing regularly against Israel and the Jews in other parts of the world. You know, it's really interesting how just after 7 years, 7 years after August of 1945, when those Nagasaki and Hiroshima were bombed, they learned their lesson and they were rebuilt. They became allies. In the past several decades, the definitions of certain words have been altered, redefined, butchered, and simply made to vanish, just to include all sorts of things that truly do not belong in the meaning of those words. For instance, if you ask people, what is a child, or who is a child, or who is a 9-year-old, or if you ask them, is a 9-year-old girl, child, a woman? My friend, you'll be amazed. Because depending on who you're talking to, who you're interacting with, you will receive all sorts of various disturbing, long-winded explanations instead of the actual ordinary, clear, and concise meaning of what a child is. There is no time in history I will totally believe that a child, a 6-year-old or a 9-year-old, was ever considered a woman, even though some perverted society decided to destroy little baby girls' lives to please certain idiotic nonsense in the society at the time. My intention today was to suggest that people should stop being lazy to carry out their own research and to stop listening or wait to hear from popular personalities or the usual lying, corrupt, fake news media out there. Genocide is not defined or reached simply because many people have lost their lives. If we go by that, then we can safely say that genocide is happening everywhere in Nigeria, everywhere in Sudan, Congo, various parts of the world where Islam terrorists are snatching people's lives every day. Yeah, but we're not seeing that. That's not the definition of genocide. Like I said earlier, it was what the soulless Hamas terrorist monsters intended to carry out on October 7th, 2023, when they invaded Israel. If that was also the intention of Israel to wipe out the people in Gaza, I'm pretty sure the world would have long forgotten about the war over there because Israel would have done it completely. Ask yourself one question. How come the population in Gaza exploded, despite all the claims of genocide? Where else in the world has such miraculous thing occurred? Israel must be the absolute worst at doing what the world keeps accusing her of doing. If the occupants of Gaza wanted an actual state to build and live peacefully in, they will give up the terrorists in their midst for their society to be rebuilt. They have repeatedly chanted and said it and broadcasted and declared that they will destroy Israel. They will continue. How has that been working for them, if I may ask? Maybe if Japan had decided to carry on warring with the United States in the 1945 wars, there may not be a place called Japan today. Well, for those people supporting, enabling, sponsoring, and chanting and hoping that Gaza people will continue with the destructive trajectory of Israel, their desire, you probably want that portion of land, that Gaza location, to never be inhabited by anybody as a result. Then maybe Israel will have peace. Caution your people. Call them back. There is no gain. There's not going to be a time when those people can overcome and conquer Israel. There was none, there is not, and will never be genocide in Gaza based on the fake new definition which had been manufactured by the evil folks of the world. I thank you for your time. I hope to be back. Stay well, stay informed, stay away from the fake news outlets.